Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. Come on, let's do it. Man, this is it, right? We are winding down. This is the grand finale. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been amazing. I'm missing you guys already. We haven't even left, but I'm just thinking about, man, I'm going to be on that bird tomorrow heading back to North Carolina, and I made so many amazing and meaningful connections. I'm missing a lot of you guys already, man. I told you guys earlier that I'm a Scorpio, so I get emotional, so, just don't judge me. But this has been awesome. Look, we really want to keep the energy going. We have two amazing, amazing speakers, and we also have to find out, and we're going to find out who the finalists are. There are 3 finalists, I believe, and then one is going to be the big winner, right? The big winner. Who is it going to be? Can we do like a fantasy football thing? Is that illegal? I can't. No? Okay, all right, forget about that. All right, look, guys, just to keep the energy going, I want you guys to just do something real quick for me, and I want everybody to do this. I've had a lot of sidebar conversations with a number of you out in the hallways, and a lot of you guys are looking for that affirmation, that to be reaffirmed in the thing that you were doing. This is the right idea. This is the thing that I need to be doing. And we heard the presentation earlier about trusting your gifts, and the vision that has been given to you is for you. So just real quick, 3 quick reaffirming things that I want each of you to repeat after me and say it like you mean it. Say it like you mean it, because there's enough negative thoughts that are feeding all of us every day. People are saying, no, you can't do that. No, you shouldn't do that. No. Sometimes we have to affirm ourselves because nobody else is going to do it, right? So sometimes we just have to affirm ourselves. So I just want you guys to repeat after me as loud as you can. Make security come in here and wonder what's going on. You guys ready? Y'all with me? Yeah. All right. I am talented. Yo, I got all night. Y'all playing games. Let's go. I am talented. I am gifted. I am worthy. Give yourselves a round of applause. All right, so I think it is my man Tim Stearns. Is that right? Is Tim Stearns going to join me up here? Is Tim Stearns going to join me up here? Is that right? Is he here? Yes or no? No? They're still with the judges. So then we can't find out who the winners are right now. Look, we're all winners, huh? We're all winners. All right, then, what we will do then is we will make a slight adjustment, right? And then we will find out who the winners are after we hear from our speakers. You guys okay with that? Yeah. Y'all cool with that? I mean, this isn't, I'm not a dictator. This is democracy. Are we all in agreement? Yeah. All right, cool. So then what I will do now is introduce our first speaker. Just got a chance to meet this young man. He's doing some amazing things. I am eager to hear what he has to say. Just based on the 2-minute conversation that I had with him, I'm telling you, I just feel the power coming from his message already. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Brandon T. Adams. Don't forget the T. Brandon is the co-host and one of the executive producers of Ambitious Adventures, a reality television program focused on the compelling stories of young entrepreneurs. He has crowdfunded his own TV show, which will highlight other entrepreneurs and be seen on TV nationwide, coming to a theater and a screen near you, not a theater, but a screen near you in 2017. Put your hands together for Mr. Brandon T. Adams.
How's it going, buddy? Thank you. How's it going? You guys have a great couple days here? Who connected with people? Who made a connection that's going to lead to a lifelong friendship or business relationship? Good. That's the whole point of this. So today, I'm going to share with you how to fund the life you want. And it's not necessarily money, it's anything in life. You can fund anything you want in life to get to wherever you want to go. So, the first question is this, and most people don't even know this. What do you want? What do you want? Who in here knows what they want in life? Raise your hand. Good. Because about 95% of the people in this room, they may think they know what they want, but they don't yet know what they want, what they truly want. They may think they want the money. They may think they want the corporate job, to be the CEO. They want the fame. I've been through a lot in the past few years, which I'm going to share with you. And now that I know what I want in life, it makes it much clearer. And the thing is, once you know what you want in life, you figure out the map how to get there. Plan A, plan B, C, where do I go from there? You got to have the roadmap. So a quote by Napoleon Hill, my favorite quote by Napoleon Hill, a book, Think and Grow Rich, which changed my life, is whatever the mind conceives and believes, the mind achieves. I'll say that one more time. Whatever the mind conceives and believes, the mind achieves. Whatever you think about the most is what you become. What you focus your energy on is what you get in life. So think about that. So let's go back to my humble beginnings. I grew up in Garnervillo, Iowa, a town of 750 people. Who in here knows where Garnervillo is? Wow. Well, you've heard me speak before. But Garnervillo, a small town, actually about 30 minutes away from The Bachelor, grew up in Arlington, Iowa. Everybody knows where he grew up, so that's where I grew up, small town. I grew up in a packaged ice business. My dad sold frozen water for a living, and yes, you can make money selling frozen water, believe it or not. A lot of people laugh at me. I always knew at a young age I wanted to buy that business out. I remember in kindergarten when you're asked, what do you do for a living? What is it you want to do when you grow up? What I did is I drew a picture next to my dad and a bunch of bags of ice. I said I wanted to take over the business. 3 years ago, I bought the company out. But what I learned in that whole growing up is how to work with customers, how to go through the downs, the ups and downs. My dad had times where it was happy or times where he was down and it was bad for our family. But I learned a lot in the process, and I learned what it was like to be an entrepreneur. And then I got to college, and college for me was different than most. So my first semester, I got a 1.68 GPA. I probably did a little too much of the drugs and alcohol. I did a lot of things wrong. So there is hope. If you're in a bad situation, I got out of that. I learned what not to do. I actually got kicked out of my dorm 5 days before we were done. Kicked out for various reasons. But I was in a low point in my life. I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to basically drop out of college and go home and work in the family business and live the rest of my life with my friends telling me, you just basically had your dad's business given to you? No. So I made a pivot. I made a change. I ended up getting better grades. But then my life changed when I read a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I went to a class presentation at Iowa State University. I'm an Iowa State grad. Iowa State grads out here? Yes. So I went to class presentation, and Cactus Jack Barringer spoke. He spoke about mindset, about achieving big things. He invented $1 million products. But he led me to the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And what I learned from that book, beyond whatever the mind conceives and believes, the mind achieves, I learned that it doesn't matter if you're from Garnervillo, Iowa, if you get a 1.68 GPA, it doesn't matter how smart you are, your position, your disadvantages. What matters is if you want something in life, you have to go after it. I saw Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, all the people in the book. They weren't that smart. They just knew what they wanted. And that's why I urge you got to figure out what you want in life. Once you know what you want, you got to have a burning desire to get it. And I realized that, so I applied that. It was a hot day. I was delivering ice. I wanted a way to keep my bottled beverage colder for a long period of time. Who has had this problem before? Yes? I had a bunch of ice in the back of my truck. I could have put ice cubes in. It's time consuming. I want something to keep my bottled beverage colder for a long period of time for a bottled beverage. But not only that, I wanted something to smuggle alcohol into football games. Yeah, that was my college life. So I invented this product called Arctic Stick. I spent the next 3.5 years of my life and $100,000 to get this product to market. I learned a lot. I got on the pilot run of a TV show. I pitched. No, the show never made it. Most people would be like, oh, the show never made it. Didn't go forward. I didn't get on Shark Tank. Most people would give up. I'm like, no, I'm going to keep going forward. On that show, I met somebody named Noah McNeely. I ended up partnering with him with a product development company in Georgia, and he helped me take my product to market. And then I got to my last leg of funding, and I saw crowdfunding. Who in here has done a crowdfunding campaign before? Yes. Successes, failures. It's hard. It's really hard. So I did a crowdfunding campaign. It was my girlfriend and I, and my business partner now, Andrew Zalaski. We spent 33 days raising money. I did everything wrong. It was so much work. It was a heartache. I raised 26 grand. We had success, but I learned that it wasn't easy. And I saw that 65 to 70% of the market out there was failing. I saw a business opportunity. I made my New Year's resolution on December 31st, 2014, it was my 25th birthday. I'm New Year's Eve, baby, which is fun, by the way. So I set the New Year's resolution. I wanted to become the best in crowdfunding. I want to become the best. I wanted to be known. I wanted to help other people. And I set out to do that. And this is where I go into my fund formula for success in life. This is for anything. It doesn't matter anything that I'm doing, you're doing, whatever it is. This relates to everything. And the first one for the acronym FUND is F for forethought, U for utilized marketing plan, N for narrative, and D delivered value. The first one, F for forethought. You have to prepare ahead of time. That's for anything in life. You can't just expect to have overnight success within 30 days or 6 months. You have to work for it. If you're going to run a marathon, are you going to just show up on day one and expect to run that marathon? No. You're going to train months prior. You're going to work your butt off. So for anything in life, you have to prepare for your success, and I had to do that for crowdfunding. I knew I had to put in the work, so that's what I did. I started off, I wanted to travel the country and interview smart people. I wanted to so-called pick their brain. I love that quote when people are like, hey, can I pick your brain? So I traveled the country, interviewed entrepreneurs. I would go and I would drive to California, Ohio, down to Georgia to get 1 hour of time with these smart people. I interviewed them and I brought them on my show and shared the expertise with my audience, but I also learned from them. I learned crowdfunding, I learned about all different things in business. Within 8 weeks, I had my first sign of success. I made top 50 most influential business podcasts on iTunes. So I saw success. Some people would stop there. I said, no, I have a long ways to go. I kept going. I knew if you wanted to become an expert, you had to write a book. So I wrote a book called Keys to the Crowd, Unlocking the Power of Crowdfunding. And let me tell you, if you think it's hard to write a book, it is. But I got a D in English in college. I got a D. I was horrible at writing, but I knew what I wanted. So I made the commitment to myself that I was going to write a book, and I did it. And I urge you all, if you have knowledge in a certain area, write it down. Put your thoughts onto paper. Put it into a book. It makes you more knowledgeable, more credible. It can help you. So I wrote a book, but I wanted to be different. I wanted to be doing something different. So what I did is I decided I was going to go on TV across the country, talk about crowdfunding, teach crowdfunding to hundreds of thousands of people seeing me on TV, but also I wanted to promote local crowdfunding campaigns in different cities. So I've traveled to Jacksonville, Florida, Las Vegas, down to San Diego, Indianapolis, Iowa, you name it. I went down to Albuquerque, New Mexico one time where it really changed my life and changed somebody else's. This guy was he was doing a Kickstarter campaign for an album. And I actually got him on TV with me. He didn't even know me. I just found it randomly in Kickstarter. I believed in his project. Got him on TV. We promoted his campaign. We got done. He said, Brandon, you don't even know me. Like, why did you do this for me? He said, thank you so much. It means so much to me. And right there, that was my $1 million moment. That was the best feeling on earth. It wasn't money. It was the feeling that I helped somebody. So I did TV, I moved forward, and then I found another success. I found out in podcasting, when you do favors for somebody, and this is for life, if you become a person of value, you're going to get a lot back in return. So anytime somebody comes on my show, I find a way I can help them. I also pick their brain, but I find a way I can help them and potentially do business with them. And a guy by the name of Louis Foreman came on my podcast show. He was a founder of Venties and Everyday Edisons, and I found out he had a magazine, Inventor's Digest. And I saw that. I'm like, hey, man, any way I can help or anything in an article in your magazine, it'd be awesome. He's like, send me an email. I sent him an email within an hour. I followed up. I saw an opportunity. Most people see an opportunity and let it go by. They waste a day. They'll go play video games. They may go out for that night. They'll forget about it. And a week later, they'll send something when it's out of their mind. I sent it right away. That ended up getting me on the cover of Inventor's Digest, which was the best free publicity I could ever get. Again, I saw another success. But then I met a guy by the name of John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire. Who listens to Entrepreneur on Fire? Great podcast show. If you don't listen to it, you should. He has over 1.3 million listeners. I interviewed him. We got done. And I said, hey, I'm a crowdfunding expert. Any way I can help you, let me know. He's like, I'm actually going to crowdfund a book. Well, the book was called The Freedom Journal, and fast forward 5 months, about a year, exactly a year from when I did my New Year's resolution, we launched the Freedom Journal on Kickstarter. We raised $100,000 in 33 hours. We ended up raising $453,000 in 33 days. It was the 6th largest crowdfunding campaign in history for a book. I had seen my first overnight success. So I learned that you have to prepare. You're gonna have wins, you're gonna have losses, but to get your huge success, you gotta keep going. You can't stop when you see failure or an obstacle. Just keep going. To my next thing for the fun formula is utilize marketing plan. You have to be promoting nonstop. You must always be promoting. Heck, if you have kids, they're promoting marketing to you because they want you to buy something for them, to take you to a movie. They're very persistent with you. They're consistently asking you. They're promoting to you. You should be promoting what you're offering to people. You need to let them know. If you're networking here today, throughout the last couple days, you should have been telling people what you do and how you can help people, because when they know that, they'll take you up on the offer and they'll work with you. Most people don't even say what they do. Or they do, and I don't even understand what it is they can help me with. So you gotta be promoting. You gotta utilize your marketing plan. And my first experience that was a real big marketing plan experience was an event called Young Entrepreneur Convention. Has anybody in here, did anybody attend the Young Entrepreneur Convention? Awesome, probably Iowa people. So I had this idea to create an event in Iowa, of all places. And I wanted to make the largest event in Iowa. And everybody laughed at me. They said, Brandon, you've never put on an event before. How are you going to get a bunch of people to Iowa? How are you going to do this? I'm like, watch me. I had a vision, and I built a team around me, and we ended up creating a big event. We promoted nonstop. We did a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo, raised about 16 grand. That allowed us to attract more speakers, allowed us to attract more sponsorship, and we kept promoting. I did Snapchat, I did Facebook, I did online marketing. We promoted every single day, and after about 90 days, 120 days, people they saw our success. They're like, what's that YEC thing? What is that? They asked about it, and then they're buying from us. So here's an awesome event here. Kevin Harrington's actually in this picture. We had a lot of fun. Ken Shamrock there, the world's most dangerous man. Yes, somehow we got him to our event. We had Jeff Hoffman of Priceline, who's a great speaker. John Lee Dumas, a great group of people. We had huge success. But the one thing I learned from that, anything with events, if you're going to an event, I want you all, and I have a couple people that are in my accelerator program out here now. They're 2 students that I said, hey, you need to connect with at least 5 people. When you go to an event, you have to connect with people, because that person that you meet might be your next business partner, might be your next venture capitalist, somebody that funds your company, could be your next husband or wife. You don't know. You need to connect with people, because people will change your life. Every event I've ever been to, I've connected with people, and they've all changed my life. And right here is a guy by the name of Greg Roulette. I connected with him at my event. He had sponsored an event. He spoke. I connected with him, and he said, hey, Brandon, you're this crowdfunding guy. I got a studio in Orlando, Florida. Why don't you come and talk for 5 hours on crowdfunding on a class? Most people would be like, you want me to fly all the way to Orlando and talk for 5 hours? That sounds like a lot of work. I saw an opportunity. I said, hell yes. I jumped on it. 2 weeks later, I got on a plane, and I spoke for 5 hours. Yes, you can speak for 5 hours on crowdfunding. Great accomplishment. I got done, and a lady that was watching our webinar said, in the 5 hours I've spoke about crowdfunding and marketing, she learned more in that webinar in 5 hours than she learned in her 4 years of college, which that made me feel good. But we did the webinar, we got done, and Greg's like, dude, I have this idea to create this reality TV show. It's called Ambitious Adventures. We're going to travel the country, interview young entrepreneurs, highlight what they've done, and highlight the city they're in. I'm like, man, this is what I already do. He's like, well, I want to crowdfund it. I'm like, I'm traveling the country with a podcast mic. I'm interviewing all these awesome people. I have a young audience, and I have a crowdfunding company called Keys to the Crowd. Let's do it. So that day, we made the business deal. We moved forward with it. 60 days later, we did a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter. We raised over 50 grand for the initial funds. We move forward, and then it goes into our next part of the fun formula narrative, telling a great story. As I've been doing right here now, I'm telling stories. The most powerful thing you can have in life is your story. For thousands of years, we've been telling stories. People believe in stories. They buy into stories. They're more likely to remember the things you say. All of you, learn what your story is, embrace it, and use it. Tell your story all the time. Tell it in sales, tell it in marketing, tell it in copy, tell it in emails. The best way I believe to tell a story is through a great quality video. And that's what we did. We created a TV show that tells stories where we interview other young entrepreneurs. This is Greg and I there. And we got the opportunity to interview some great people. We went to Des Moines, Iowa. We ran in some cornfields, milked some cows, interviewed some cool people, Kino Saul, Men's Style Lab, some other great companies. And then we went to LA, and we got to meet some great people. So Lewis Howes, who in here listens to the podcast show, The School of Greatness? If you don't, it's a great podcast show. He actually inspired me to create my own podcast show. But Lewis Howes is a great example of somebody that tells a story. He was a Rita football player that he was going to go pro. He ended up breaking his arm, and he ended up on his couch, depressed and broke, on his sister's couch. Well, he turned that around. He became the LinkedIn guy. He started doing webinars. Fast forward 5 years, he became a multimillionaire that created a podcast show called The School of Greatness. So we interviewed him, and he interviews people, the most significant people you could ever imagine, and he brings them on the show, and they tell stories. So he tells his story, and he tells it specifically through podcasting. That made him a multimillionaire. You need to learn to tell your story. Right there, another fun time, we had Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and Nick Nanton. So Nick Nanton, he does films. He creates films. He did the documentary on Peter Diamandis, Visioneer, got an Emmy Award. We interviewed him, and then also Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul. I think I don't know how many millions of copies he sold that book, but that franchise ended up selling for $100 million. And just because he told stories, literally the power of a story. So again, if you have a story, if you have ideas, put it down on paper and turn it into monetary terms, turn it into money. Jake Paul, girls in here, who knows Jake Paul? Guys know him too? So I didn't know Jake Paul until about 8 months ago. Jake Paul is a Vine star. He has over 12.5 million followers. He's doing the Disney Channel, Bizarre, and he has a company called Team 10. So what he does, he brings in talented people, and he helps build their following. But they create Vine videos, they create Instagram, all these different videos, and they tell stories through that. Well, he's been able to grow a massive following just through telling stories through video and social media. Another successful person through telling a story. So I'm going to go to my last part of the fun formula, deliver value. I start at the beginning. Become a person of value. Some people graduate, they did their time, they got their 4 years in, and they expect to get a high-paying job and make it to the top right away because they feel they're entitled to it. You're not entitled to anything. Until you become a person of value and you add value to other people, you're not entitled to anything. You need to show massive value. When you show massive value, if you're working for a company, if you show value, more value than what you're getting paid for, you're going to get paid more. If you show value in the marketplace for a business, you're going to get paid more. Show value. My opportunity to show value was for a film called Think: The Legacy of Think and Go Rich. I talked about the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's sold over 70 million copies to date, and I love that book. I always said one day I was going to be on the back of it. Well, one time a guy by the name of Joel Franco, the producer of Think, saw me on a Facebook Live talking about Think, and he said, "You are perfect for this. I think you'd be great for being in our film." Well, he also told me he was going to do a crowdfunding campaign. I saw all the work I had done in the forethought process, everything I've done to become an expert, and I saw the things I went to, and you know, like Eminem says, you have that one shot, you can't miss it. Well, I had that one shot. I had that one opportunity, and I had spent 3 years to build myself up to the opportunity to take the position to work with Think. So not only did I get in the film with some great people, Barbara Corcoran, Rob Dyrdek, Bob Proctor, Lewis Howes, Darren Hardy, John Lee Dumas, Joel Brown, the list goes on. I'm the youngest one in the film, by the way. I got to be a part of the team. So that's our team right there. We're in Nashville last week having fun. But I got to be a part of the team because I showed value. I helped them raise $150,000 in the past month, close to another $300,000 investment. And I gave them a great story, and I showed my value. Because I delivered value, I got my spot on the team, and then last week, one of the biggest accomplishments of my life, I got to meet J.B. Hill, Napoleon Hill's grandson. I got to sit on the table with him and talk with him, and he told stories about Napoleon Hill that I've never heard before. Nobody has. And that experience was life-changing for me. And I looked back at everything I've done. I saw that I applied the forethought process. I put in all the work. I promoted every single day, even times when people said I was stupid, they said I was wasting my time. I told my story the entire process, and I delivered massive value, and because of that, I got on that table. So I'm going to leave on this. For all of you, whether you want to put on an event, you want to create your own TV show, you want to make your way up to the top to the CEO, maybe you want to start your own company, whatever it is, you follow the fun formula, but also you have to believe in yourself. That's the first step. And I know it sounds simple, but most people don't believe in themselves. They don't have confidence. I've always believed in myself. And when I convince my own mind I can do something, I convince others that I'm going to do it. So when you believe in yourself, people will see that. They will see that. They'll sit across the room from you. When you're pitching and you know what you're talking about and that you're going to do something, them judges, I've been a judge on CEO. I've been a judge. They know if you're going to make it or not. So you first have to believe in yourself, because once you believe in yourself, others will follow you. Others will take you to where you want to go. And that's why I say you got to state where you're going. Tell the world where you want to go in life. State your goals. Believe in yourself and you'll get there. The quote, whatever the mind conceives and believes, the mind achieves. Whatever you think about the most is what you become. It's all up here. You have to believe in yourself. I believe every single one of you standing here, every single one of you, you all have a gift. You may not know it yet, but figure it out. Figure out what you love to do. Build a business around it. And work your ass off every single day and achieve it and become the best at it. And go out there, create something great and become unforgettable, because life is too short not to. I'm Brandon T. Adams. Thanks for having me, everybody. Thank you, buddy.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, guys, keep it going for Brandon T. Adams. I knew we were in store for something powerful. Storytelling, the single most compelling way that you can inspire and influence other people to take action. So as you guys are crafting your own stories, as I listen to you, Brandon, and listen to all the other amazing speakers share their stories today, follow this outline for crafting your story. And I heard it come from you so genuinely and sincerely, is your heart, your hurt, and your help. Start with your heart. What's in your heart? What really means something to you, right? Then be willing to share your hurt. Be transparent. Talk about the obstacles and the challenges that you faced. And then your help is how you will help other people overcome the same pain point. Brandon, very powerful. Another round of applause. Thank you. Now I'm going to try this again. Is my man Tim, are you in the building? Tim Stearns. Hey! Come on. Keep it going till he gets up here. Maybe he'll walk a little faster. Come on. Let's go. We want to hear who the winners are. So you're going to take over from here, is that correct?
I can't take over from you. Thank you. I'm here with my co-host, Andrew Shin, and we've spent the last day and a half helping out all the people in their pitching. We had 61 people pitch, and I want to give them a big round of applause. Being able to pitch is just essential to the entrepreneurial experience. And I encourage all of you who did not participate this year to mark it on your calendar for next year. We do pitching by two avenues. One, your campus hosts a pitch competition where the winner is automatically entered into the competition, so that's a good route to go. And secondarily, you can apply directly by completing the form and submitting it for consideration. So it takes a lot of guts to pitch. I know it's hard to stand up. I know that most people have some problems before crowds. I think we all go through that experience, but being an entrepreneur, if you can't communicate your vision, it's going to be very hard to build a company. Whether it's communicating to your employees, to the team you're working with, or whatever, particularly those who are going to provide you resources.
So we keep seeing an increase in the quality of applicants, and this year was no exception. We have some really, really good contestants this year. It was a tough decision for the judges, but we got down to 3 top contestants.
And many thanks to the judges. We had a multitude of judges participate, and I appreciate their hard work and their efforts to really give some very good feedback to the contestants, and hopefully that will lead to further improvement.
If you are a contestant and you didn't pick up your feedback form, you can find those down at the registration table.
So let me invite all 6 of the contestants up, and then we'll announce the winners.
All right.
Mason Cook, Iowa State University. Paul Pignot, Texas Christian University. Macaulay Cunningham, Texas A&M University. Victor Sarti, Universidad Estadual de Campinas, I'm getting better. Andrew McMillan, California State University, Fresno, and Joshua Doring, Morningside College. It took 3 rounds to get here, so many, many thanks. So our 3rd place winner, $1,000, is Victor Sardi, Universidad Estatal de Campinas. Second place, Macaulay Cunningham, Texas A&M University, with the Motley Tool. And second place is $2,000 for those making notes. Now, the condition of being the first place winner is that they're going to have to pitch to you. So there is going to be a prize for succeeding in the competition. And the first place winner is Joshua Doring, Morningside College, Seed Slide. Joshua needs to take a relaxant. No, he's off to get his product because he wants you to be able to see what he's been able to develop with he and his team. And we'll get a quick demonstration for that. We want to thank the John Hughes Foundation for providing the funds to support the money for these individuals. All of the contestants, if you have not collected yet, will receive a certificate that is at the registration desk, which may still be open. And of course, there are the sheets that you can pick up, which will provide you for the evaluations. So, Joshua, do we need a timer? We'll let him kind of. You're on your own now. You get to free form it.
You guys all see it? If I put it here? There we go.
Hi, I'm Josh Doring, co-founder and marketing director of SeedSlide, and a student at Morningside College in Sioux City, Iowa. Did you know farming is the most dangerous occupation according to the Department of Labor? Growing up on the farm, I watched my dad and grandpa have to climb on top of 10 feet tall, slippery wagons to unload 3,000-pound seed boxes, risking falling and breaking bones. These falls take farmers out of their ability to work and provide for their families. SeedSlide prevents these accidents by providing a remote way of opening boxes from the seat of your forklift, equaling safety and convenience. Our customers are large farmers and seed dealers forced to flirt with danger frequently. corn, beans, wheat, and rice are all delivered in these standardized boxes, making the market around 600,000 producers and the seed dealers who service them. There are two similar products in the market, but ours has the advantages of being lighter, more pulling torque, longer range, and a better locking mechanism. It costs us $250 to produce, and we sell it at a 50% profit margin. Since inception, we've validated the market by selling 60 units for $50,000, and next year conservatively forecast to sell 250 units for $212,000. We have structured our marketing channels to utilize rapport between dealers and their customers to maximize sales. We are asking for a $3,500 investment to help build awareness of our solution to farm without harm. SeedSlide is helping make farming safer, and we want to take these benefits anywhere they need increased safety. Thank you. For anyone who missed it the first time.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And another round of applause for all of the contestants. I am so fortunate and blessed to get to be a part of so much creativity and innovation for the last 2 years and be surrounded by so much talent. So this is truly a blessing for me to be able to participate in. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to round things out. And the next speaker that I am about to introduce is a man that I think really needs no introduction, at least in this room, right? I think everyone is familiar with our next speaker that's going to take us home strong. Kevin Harrington, founder of As Seen on TV. Everyone in this room knows who he is. And we're going to have the good fortune of hearing a very powerful message from him. Kevin has been a successful entrepreneur over the last 40 years. He is an original shark on the ABC hit, Emmy-winning TV show Shark Tank. He is also the inventor of the infomercial As Seen on TV Pioneer, co-founder of the Electronic Retailer Association, and co-founder of the Entrepreneurs Organization. Kevin has launched over 20 businesses that have grown to over $100 million in sales. Each that has been involved in more than a dozen public companies and has launched over 500 products, generating more than $5 billion in sales worldwide with iconic brands and celebrities such as Jack LaLanne, Tony Little, George Foreman, and the new iGrow hair restoration product on QVC. Kevin has an extensive experience in business all over the world, opening distribution outlets in over 100 countries worldwide. His success led Mark Burnett to handpick Kevin to become an original shark on Shark Tank, where he has filmed over 175 segments. So before we welcome Kevin to the stage, let's glue our eyes to the screen.
Meet Kevin Harrington.
With 500 products launched and generating over $4 billion in product sales worldwide, meet Kevin Harrington. Kevin is the ambassador and principal architect of the global direct response industry. He is founder and current chairman of the board of AsSeenOnTV.com, Inc. Kevin has created brand after brand in nearly every category, including housewares, fishing, golf, music, fitness, and automotive by combining great products with great superstar talent like George Foreman, Billy Mays, Anthony Sullivan, Jack LaLanne, Montel Williams, Hulk Hogan, Tony Little, and even popular reality stars such as Kim Kardashian, Kathy and Paris Hilton, and Kris and Bruce Jenner.
My advice to everybody, if you even have an idea, you'd want to go to Kevin Harrington.
For more than 3 decades, Kevin has been featured on both national and international magazine covers and in hundreds of print media. Kevin's acquisition of AsSeenOnTV.com, the world's As Seen on TV portal of the hottest selling products around the world, has positioned him as the ambassador of the As Seen on TV industry. After more than 25 years behind the camera, Kevin was selected to star as an investor shark on the ABC television network hit show Shark Tank, produced by Mark Burnett, where budding entrepreneurs pitch their product ideas for a chance to sell them and make millions.
You need the money, but you need the expertise, and I have the expertise in developing the television, the infomercial side.
I came out here and I was gunning for you.
Kevin is sought after all over the world, whether he's throwing out the first pitch at a Major League Baseball game, ringing the NASDAQ bell, or inspiring and teaching students, entrepreneurs, and business professionals. Kevin Harrington is author, marketing guru, advertising celebrity, television personality, ambassador of the As Seen on TV industry, the billion-dollar man, and infomercial king of the infomercial industry.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Hey, all right. What a pleasure. What a great group. I hear it's been a lot of fun here the last couple of days, and I just want to tell you, I'm here really for a couple of reasons, primarily for you guys here. And let me give everybody a round of applause for being here today. This is amazing. Young entrepreneurs. How many are entrepreneurs in the room? Okay, just 80, 90%, almost everybody. I'm also here because of the University of Tampa. Rebecca White and Giles Hertz and James Sobrowski. I want to thank you guys for putting this on. And I've been now coming to these CEO events on and off for probably about 10 or 12 years. So I really am excited to be able to be here, because when I shot Shark Tank, I actually only would see 8 or 10 people in a day. And I would say, you know what, I need to get out, and I love taking the pitches and meeting the entrepreneurs. It's sort of what I say, where the rubber meets the road, right? So I'm really excited to be here. I'm going to share with you a few of the things that I learned in my 40 years of being an entrepreneur. And so, actually, I think Trey said I was one of the original founders of the Young Entrepreneurs Organization, YEO, which is now EO. Now, how many have heard of EO, right? Okay. EO is the world's largest entrepreneurial organization. We're in 40 plus countries, 100 and some cities. And when I was a young entrepreneur, when we started YEO, was with Michael Dell and Ted Leonsis and Vern Harnish, and a few of us had started that. We didn't realize we were going to be old entrepreneurs so soon. So now I'm an old entrepreneur, but it's still good to be here hanging out with you guys. And speaking of old entrepreneurs, here's an old entrepreneur, Kevin O'Leary. How many recognize Mr. O'Leary from Shark Tank? Okay, so that's one of the deals that he and I did on the show. The folding guitar, and we were at a trade show at the National Association of Music Manufacturers, and you know why he calls himself Mr. Wonderful? Because nobody else will. Okay, yeah, he loves to call himself Mr. Wonderful, right? Now, he's really not so wonderful, and he can be a really tough guy, but it's actually pretty good for some of the entrepreneurs that come on the show, because one of the biggest problems that I had in the very beginning was people would come in. One guy wanted $1 million for 10% of his company, and he was going to surgically implant a Bluetooth device in your ear. I don't know if you remember that segment, but I mean, and he had a patent for that, but no proof of concept, no FDA approval, and so it's pretty crazy. So it was good to see some of the pitching going on here today, and the winner is well deserved. So I tell a quick story about how I got started, and people say to me, "How'd you get into that infomercial business?" So I'm going to tell you that story, and a couple of eureka moments for me, and then I'm going to share with you 5 tips that I think are important for you to maybe pay attention to as you're growing your businesses hopefully from here. So I was fortunate to have a father that was an entrepreneur, and I remember back in grade school having books like this, How the Grinch Stole Your New Product Idea, okay? So, you know, because he was in the restaurant business, and he would show me how the beer truck delivery guy was stealing kegs of beer, and the chef was stealing steaks, and the bus boys were stealing steak knives, and all this kind of stuff. And like I said, yeah, the word stole is very appropriate if you're an entrepreneur, because people, you know, will try to get over on you one way or the other. So I just, you know, my father was a restaurateur. He owned steakhouses and Irish pubs and all different kinds of businesses. And I was fortunate to be able to work for him when I was young. But I really go back to starting a couple of businesses. When I was in college, I started a heating and air conditioning business. And I don't, you know, it was kind of crazy, but I said I wanted a business that I can do things in the winter and the summer, because I had a little part-time business when I was in high school. But I bought the list of new homeowners, and then we would call them and say, hey, congratulations on the purchase of your new home. We're going to send somebody out and as a welcome gift to the neighborhood, clean your furnace for free. And so just about everybody would say, yeah, come on out. And right then and there, at that particular time when we were doing this, there was new technology for furnaces called spark ignition that made furnaces a lot more efficient. So when I was in college, this was one of 6 trucks we had, 25 employees, we're doing $1 million+ in sales, installing 10 furnaces a week on a busy week. And so it was just crazy for me as an entrepreneur. But what I ended up doing, because it was the business grew like this and it was great, but it was very labor intensive. So I went to sell that business, and my father, again, I mentioned he was my mentor. And this is one of the things I'm going to be talking about, is getting a mentor and how to do that. But my father said, you've got to open your view to as many opportunities as possible. And he called it curiosity overload. So that's what I did. I got into a mode. I said, how can I get very curious? How can I see many opportunities that are out there? So when I was selling my business, I went to a business broker, and I was sitting there in front of this broker, and he had 200 businesses for sale. Pizza parlors, restaurants, laundromats, flower shops, delicatessens, you name it, everything. And I'm like, I was like a kid in a candy store. So I said, I'm going to sell my heating and air conditioning business, and that's what I want to do. But I'm going to take it one step further. Instead of just selling the business people that are going to start a business, they need more than just to own it. They need to make sure they've got the right legal structure and the right advertising, graphics, logos, and insurance, etc. So I started, this is after selling the heating and air business, and this is now, I'm dating myself a little bit, but this goes to 1980, I started the Small Business Center. This was a one-stop center for small businesses, and I rented a whole floor of an office building, Cincinnati, Ohio, where I was born and raised. And we would sell you the business. And by the way, these service providers paid me rent because, you know, I was covering the cost of my whole operation by the rents that were coming in from them. So you'd buy the business, we could incorporate you, we had a lawyer, we had a advertising agency that did your graphics, your logos, your designs, your brochures, your TV commercials, your radio commercials, and we did everything else across the board. So this Small Business Center gave me a chance. Now, I had hundreds of businesses listed. I got to see all the percentages, the food costs, the rents, what were they paying, how many employees, the ups, the downs, why were they succeeding, why were they failing? And this was a really very cool transition for me to get very curious and see a lot of businesses. And so I'm going to tell you about the first eureka moment. I'm going to talk about several eureka moments that changed my life. And I believe that when you set your sights on having a eureka moment, you can do it. And I think Brandon said it very, very well. Put your mind to it and you'll achieve it, right? So I went to a lot of trade shows. This is now back in the 80s, because if I'm selling a restaurant, I got to be familiar with that industry. I go to the restaurant shows. If I'm selling a flower shop, I got to know that business. I go to the flower shows. To this day, I still stay curious. And again, this is one of the message points I think is important for young entrepreneurs. Go to trade shows because you expose yourself to what's going on in that industry, and I go to the Consumer Electronics Show, the Hardware Show, the Houseware Show, the Beauty Show. I do 30 trade shows a year, and it's very powerful to do this. So here I was at the Philadelphia Home Show. This is now 1984, but I have to just explain the mood of the TV marketplace at this time, because this is how this eureka moment that got me into television. I don't know if you remember, nobody in this room remembers TV back in those days, except for maybe a couple professors, but you know, 1984, there was 30 channels on cable TV when it first launched. So CNN was news, HBO was movies, and ESPN was sports, and Discovery Channel was beautiful shows that featured like National Geographic type content. And so here I was, very entrepreneurial. I had 30 channels, and I go to the Discovery Channel, and that is what was on the screen, bars. So I called the cable company right after the guy got done installing it, and I said, I've been going through all the channels, and I got to Discovery, and there's bars up on the screen. I said, I don't know if there's a technical problem or something wrong, but I want to see Discovery. I got all my news, I got all my sports, I got all my movies. And they said, oh, Discovery Channel is only an 18-hour-a-day network. 6 hours a day, we put bars up. And that's when the light went off in my head. I have to find some way to make money with that dead space that's on TV. This is 1984. So, and again, here I was at the Philadelphia Home Show right around the same time, and this is the eureka moment. I'm sitting there at that home show, and there's a guy, there we go, back to the Philadelphia Home Show. There's a guy standing there. He's got a crowd around him, and I'm peering over the shoulders of everybody trying to hear this guy. His name, he says, it's Arnold Morris, and he got a knife in his hand, and he's cutting through a Coca-Cola can, and then he's going through a hammer, and then he goes through a muffler, a pair of sneakers, and he says, this Ginsu knife is still so sharp, I can cut a tomato and read the Sunday newspaper through the tomato. And then he says, and we've got an unbelievable deal. It's $14.95 for this amazing knife, guaranteed for life, but for the first 10 people, I'm going to give you a second one absolutely free. And then he said the famous words, but wait, there's more, right? How many have heard that before, okay? So just then, he said, for the first 10 people, you're going to get 6 free steak knives. And he got attacked by, more than 10 people. And somebody was collecting the money, and I was watching this pitch, and I said, that was the most unbelievable sales pitch I've ever seen. But before I knew it, before I'd even get to Arnold, he had another 10, 15 people around doing the same demos that he was doing before. Going through the Coca-Cola can, the hammerhead, the muffler, the pair of sneakers, and that is when the light bulb went off. I said, Arnold got on break. I said, Arnold, that's the most amazing sales pitch I've ever seen. You're just turning cash. I said, I have a great idea. I said, I don't know what we're going to call this. No one's ever done this before, but I'm going to turn the camera on. And Arnold said, Kevin, he said, I do this 40 weeks a year. I go from here to the Iowa State Fair. I said, no more. You're never going to have to travel again, because I'm going to film what you just did. And you know what we're going to do with it, Arnold? He said, what? He said, we're going to put it right there on Discovery Channel's Dead Time. And we shot this show.
Now, you take a tomato, the weight of the knife alone cuts that tomato. Let me ask you something. How many knives do you have at home this sharp? You could drop the tomato on top. Pretty sharp, right? Do you know what one young lady said? Can you cut them thin? I said, thin, one tomato will last you all week long.
We shot that live. It took 18 minutes to shoot. It was a whole 30-minute show, but but actually, in 18 minutes he was done. So we just reran part of it again, and that went on to do over $500 million in sales for a $2,000 investment. Let's give Arnold Morris a round of applause. Arnold Morris, God bless him. And you know what? You know what I call this? I call it the world's first viral video, because it went viral. I took it and I went to all the TV stations in the United States that went off at late night. I went to Discovery Channel. By the way, I went to Discovery and I said, I want to buy that 6-hour block. And I gave them $1,000 a day for 6 hours nationwide. And by the third year, we were doing 28 million in sales off of that block of time. And then I said, if there's bars on the screen in the United States, I wonder if there's bars on the screen in any other parts of the world. Guess what? There were. In Europe, in Asia, in Latin America. So we took not only the Ginsu, but then Arnold said, hey, Kevin, when you were at the Philadelphia Home Show, did you see Billy Mays? Did you see any of these other people that were there pitching products? And I said, Arnold, after I met you, I was so excited I went home. That was it. He said, good. Will you give me a percentage of anybody I introduce you to? Because I know a dozen plus pitchmen, and that was the introduction then to all of the other guys. And this was the early days of the infomercial business. And no one even knows who coined the term infomercial, but that was the beginning. So that eureka moment, people said, man, you were so lucky to meet Arnold Morris. I said, I went to 30 trade shows a year. That wasn't luck. That was a pre-planned practice that I performed as an entrepreneur to find new products, new ideas, new relationships, and new opportunities. So speaking of the next eureka moment, so here I am running this business. I'm doing hundreds of millions a year. We're doing Jack LaLanne Juicers and Tony Little Fitness and Arnold this and all these Billy Mays and everything. I get a phone call, and who's on the line? Mark Burnett. Now, how many have heard of Mark Burnett? Right, the producer. He produces, he's, by the way, he's known for something kind of famous right now. He's the one that launched Donald Trump on television, okay? So, you know, they're trying to get some of those outtakes from Mark Burnett right now because they say some of those outtakes would probably further bury Donald, you know, in the process. So, you know, it's amazing, though. Mark Burnett is there on the line and says, hey, Kevin, it's Mark Burnett. I'm shooting a new TV show, and I'd love to have you come out and meet with me. I've been following all this stuff you're doing on these infomercials and dealing with inventors and all these products. And so can you come out to Los Angeles? And I said, Mark, this really the Mark Burnett? You know, you produce that Survivor show and Apprentice and all these. That's me. And I said, hey, I would love to come out and talk to you. I said, but can you give me any heads up on what the show's about? He said, Kevin, look, I'm not going to go into it over the phone. It's called Shark Tank. Jump on a plane and get out here. And I thought for a minute. I said, Mark, you know, I know what you do to those people on that Survivor Island. I don't know about Shark Tank, okay? So, you know, like my wife said, wait a minute, you don't even like fishing. Why would you be on a show called Shark Tank, right? So it was kind of funny, but no, I didn't, you know, he said, no, it's a business show, Kevin. So, and before Shark Tank ever aired, most of you have watched Shark Tank a time or two, right? Let me see a show of hands. So, great. So I did 175 segments. I invested millions of dollars, dozens of deals, and it was a great time. In fact, this is Robert Herjavec. That's he and I up there on the left. He got married about 6 weeks ago. Beverly Hills, the Four Seasons. We're smoking a cigar. There's his wife, Kim Johnson from Dancing. He went on Dancing with the Stars, and there's Barbara. It's been amazing hanging out with the Sharks, you know, and also learning a few things from them along the way has been pretty cool also. So that's kind of what I want to now share with you because, you know, not everybody that goes to Shark Tank that pitches gets on. In fact, 45,000 people a year try to get on that show. They only take 165. It's pretty, you know, it's just like today. You had 61 pitches, there was one winner, right? So it's tough. Those who make it, though, deliver a perfect pitch. And I'm going to talk about the perfect pitch here in just a second. But, you know, when the perfect pitch isn't good enough, young entrepreneurs fail for a number of reasons. And this is what I'm going to share with you because I got kind of 5 tips for you today. Always love to share some of the mistakes that I've made, and one of them is lack of team support, lack of capital, raising your profile, getting new income streams. You know, there's tips along the way for all of these because some of you maybe have a little business going, some are thinking about getting a business going, and you know, I think it's important for me to talk about the things that I do and the things that I made mistakes on. So the first step that I say is important is getting the right leadership and employee structure by creating a dream team. Dream team is surrounding yourself with the experts. And, you know, I'm not saying you go out and hire high-paid people. What if you have no budget? People say, well, how do I get a dream team if I don't have any kind of a budget at all? Well, you know, what is a dream team? The dream team is coaches, mentors, business and finance, banking experts, operational experts, industry gurus. But I say, instead of employing them, rent them. You don't have to, you know, if you don't have the budget initially, how do you even raise money? We're going to talk about that in just a second. So I get approached to be on dream teams, and I'll give you a good example of one that I joined not too long ago. But it's, you know, there's ways to do this, and when I talk about capital, I'll show you exactly what I did. So, I mean, here's a good example of small little public company. I don't know if you've ever heard of a company called Celsius. It's a drink, it's an energy drink, it's a healthy energy drink. I joined their dream team, and their stock was just flatlined at about 10 cents a share. I brought in Flo Rida, I brought in Russell Simmons. We raised $16 million. And boom, look what happened to the stock. It went up over $3 a share. It just went from 5 million to almost 100 million in market value. So, you know, this is, you know, just you surround yourself with gurus and experts, and it rubs off. So, I mean, look, O'Leary, he's got a company called O'Shares Investments, and it's the O'Leary Fund. He's you know, getting a guy like that would be great to have on your dream team. So you know, I like to say that when you get this dream team, they're going to help you get to the next step, and that's raising capital to fund your growth. And there's a lot of ways to raise capital. You bootstrap it, friends, relatives, angels, venture capitalists, industry, suppliers. You know, crowdfunding. You know, you just heard from one of the kings of crowdfunding, Brandon T. Adams. Crowdfunding can be very, very powerful. He raised $453,000 for a book. That's pretty amazing, right? So there's something now called Reg A+. And Reg A+ gives you an ability to raise, you know, there's one layer of it that's $1 million. There's another layer of it that lets you go to 20 million. There's a third layer that actually, with the right SEC approvals, you can get up to 50 million. And in some cases, all the investors don't even have to be accredited. And so you can put together a cool little package. In fact, there's a, you know, Kickstarter has done over $1 billion in crowdfunding, but you don't get equity. Reg A+, you're actually giving equity away in the company. So you can, for $100, it's not a donation, it's actually the purchase of equity. So there's a lot of people doing this in real estate right now. So think about this. The old way in real estate, you can invest 50 grand into one property. The new way is you invest 5 grand into 10 properties via equity crowdfunding, Reg A+. So has anyone heard of Reg A+? Only a handful, like 2 or 3. That's amazing. So check it out. It's big time. So now what I was saying earlier is how I used a dream team to help me raise money. So my company back in the late 80s, early 90s was growing like this. We were doing tens of millions in sales. We were profitable, but we needed capital. And so I went to different banks, and I got turned down because I didn't have the right pitch. And I'm going to talk about the pitch next. So what happened? I said to myself, 5 banks said, I don't care that you're doing 50 million, making 5 million in profit. We're not interested in lending money to you. So finally, I said, how do I get money? How do I raise capital? I found, and this is when I was living in Philadelphia, I found a former bank president that had retired, and I brought him in as a mentor and a coach. And so I said, look, I'm struggling. I said, I got a great business, very profitable, 5 million a year in profits, but I can't, no banks want to talk to me. He said, well, when you went in and talked to the banks, what'd you tell them? How great your business was? And I said, yeah, pretty much. He said, well, guess what? They don't want to know what you've done in the last 5 years. They want to know what you're going to do in the next 5 years. They want to see your strategic plan. They want to see that you're a young entrepreneur. They want to see that you've got a bunch of seasoned executives, some people around you, because they're going to give you the money. How do they know they're going to get their money back? So I said, so I got to surround myself. I said, will you be part of my dream team? And he said, absolutely. So I brought him on. Then we brought on a legal team. And then we brought, and by the way, there's ways to tranche this so that, you know, nowadays, when I do startups, I'll bring on an executive, but I don't pay them from day one. I say, look, you're going to be part of my dream team. So I'll give you $5,000 a month, but you're going to work. It's going to be retroactively. You'll get paid back. We're going to go raise money for this company. So in month 4, when we raise the money, you'll get paid to day 1, $5,000 a month. You'll get a check for $20,000. But there's no money to pay you day 1. So you're getting the dream team without laying out any cash. It's a clever way to do it. And not everybody will take you up on that, because some people, they're going to say, if you want me to join the team, I got to get paid. But others, hey, they may go for the ride, okay? So you pay them retroactively after you bring them in. So make a long story short, there's this dream team that I created in this company. We went back. One of the banks that turned us down, because now I had legal, operations, finance, me, the entrepreneur, and a strategic plan. And we got a $3 million line of credit. And then we grew the business to over $500 million a year. So that was a very critical time in my development of my business. So I say you'll need to know how to pitch. And pitching to investors, there's a perfect system. Now, I could spend literally all day, and I have a program that I spend an entire day on how to pitch. But in 3 steps, it's tease, please, and seize. It's simple. The tease is grab the audience with an attention-getting problem. You please by showing benefits, solutions to the problem with magical transformations, easing the pain, supporting it with testimonials and documentation. But I want to see unique benefits. And then I say, is it unique enough such that no other product or service solves the problem in a similar fashion? This is important. So this is the tease. You got to get their attention. Give me a problem. Now solve the problem. Demonstrate that it works. And show me the uniqueness. And then seize with an irresistible offer. So this is the process of teasing, pleasing, and seizing. So now I have a perfect pitch that I want to show you. I'm not sure if we're actually going to see this or not. No, we're not. The perfect pitch later, we'll talk about it a little bit more. I'm going to talk about step number 3 now. So raising your profile is step number 3. Now, how many operate any kind of a business currently? Pretty many. That's pretty good. Almost about half of you. That's great. So have you raised your profile? That's the question I really want to ask you. Because let me tell you how I got on Shark Tank. Here I was in 2008, and now that's 2008 is just a couple of years ago, because I started in 1984, and it took me 2008 to 84. That's more than 20 years. I'd been doing infomercials. I built Tony Little's brand, Jack LaLanne. We got involved in, the Jenners, Kim Kardashian. I did her first infomercial. I was doing, George Foreman. All these people became famous. Tony Little, I would put him on TV. I'd do one show, then another show, then another show. He got all the calls. Nobody was calling me. Nobody knew who Kevin Harrington was. I'm like, that isn't fair. I mean, I find these deals. I put these people in these shows and go out and buy hundreds of millions of dollars worth of television media exposure, building their brand. So I said, now it's time for me to build my brand. And that was 2008. My book, Act Now, How I Turn Ideas into $1 Million Products, came out right then and there. And here I was sitting I was going from radio show to radio show, promoting the book. And then I got on TV shows, then I got in trade journals, then I got in the New York Times. And then who was watching all this? Well, Mark Burnett. He was looking for a shark that had exposure in this as seen on TV space. So writing the book, I say publishing, it actually in the ideas economy shows the ownership of your niche. And now I have a whole company that does nothing but publishes books for entrepreneurs, and we've done over 300 books for entrepreneurs now, and it can cost you as little as a couple $1,000s to write and produce and come out with your own book, positioning you as the expert. And then you get on talk shows, TV shows, etc. So look for a breakthrough because you need it. And so, publishing is just, writing a book is just one thing, but what does it do? It develops you as an authority. You can do podcasts and interviews and, speaking at different events, chambers of commerce, you're on TV stations, you're in newspapers, magazines, etc. This is all pretty much free, and it's very, very powerful. So I've had another couple of books, but then I came out with a digital magazine. Now, you see that magazine there on the right-hand side? It's called Sharkpreneur. And Sharkpreneur comes out every quarter, and it's a 16-page magazine. I get free content, and it's distributed free of charge. Now, I don't know if you realize, do you know that Forbes magazines are pretty much in a dying industry, print, right? So Forbes saw itself going like this until they decided to go digital with Forbes.com, which now has 45 million monthly subscribers. And I'm a contributor to Forbes because I give them content, but I don't get paid. I give it to them for free, like the other hundreds of other people that provide them free content, because I get to be in their magazine, their .com, and it rubs, that Forbes rubs off on me. And so just like I have my own digital magazine, it also allows people to rub with me, the shark, in my magazine. So people want to do that. So digital magazine, give you a lot of powerful. You keep your customers, get new customers, build your credibility, stand out from the competition, and enhance your reputation as an expert, and build your brand, without a doubt. This is the power of building your brand. So that is the power of publishing. And I'm just going to give you one other little tip, because a buddy of mine does this really good in brand building. He calls it newsjacking. And when some big story breaks, and he's a pet expert, when a story breaks about some kind of a dog bite or something, he sends his credentials. He does the government FBI work for dog bites, and he's a pet guru. And so he sends his information to the local TV station. He gets interviewed, and he's now being interviewed on Today Show, Good Morning America. He newsjacks, and it's amazing how powerful that can be. So this is, I call it building your brand. The next step, we just have 2 left, and I know you guys have had a great couple of days, and I'm excited for everybody here to be entrepreneurs and have a chance to be part of the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization. But this is powerful stuff. This next kind of talk, this is a very quick one, but it's modernizing your infrastructure. So let me go back. I said I'll tell you about the mistakes I made. I'm building my old company. I had 500 employees. I had my own fulfillment center with 80 employees. I had my own phone center for customer service. I had my own processing department for customer service, for inbound, for this, for that. I had my own media department. It was just crazy. All these people that I had working for me when I could have rented or outsourced it all, because I'm in an industry that goes like this, but I had employees like I needed to have, like these people, I couldn't lay them off like this. And so I say that the new way to get involved with infrastructure is access to assets. The old way was invest your funds into software. I spent $1 million in software, building my media software. It was ridiculous. It was stupid, right? In fact, if you want to know about the smartest company that's ever taken this advice, we all know it, it's called Snapchat. When they started, Evan Spiegel rented Amazon's cloud. He didn't want to spend his money on private software. He partnered with Square instead of doing his own. He built, in 2 years, he had a $4 billion market cap with 20 people. And now today, $25 billion, right? And, so without the fear of scaling, because you can count on everybody else to do it, you focus on building the business and getting new clients and getting sales and getting profits. So that is very, very important. Rent, don't buy, don't own, access to assets. The last topic of my discussion today, this is near and dear to me because I've got so much time now spent, because many of you have seen a lot of disruption. Well, maybe at your age you haven't seen tons because you haven't been through it, but I've been through disruption. And the disruption is happening because of the digital age. And so, just to give you an idea, I was around when TV was black and white, before color television, before cable, before satellite, before cell phones. Radio took 38 years to get to 50 million people. TV got to 50 million viewers in 13 years. The internet got there in 4 years, the iPod in 3, Facebook in 2. The Draw Something app got 50 million downloads in 50 days. This is like the Snapchat kind of just absolute mind-blowing growth, right? And so now, what does this mean? Here I am, Mr. As Seen on TV, but there's disruption in the TV marketplace. Look at that. Morgan Stanley did a report that said there's a 50% decline in television viewership. Why? Younger viewers, many of you, I mean, I don't know how much TV any of you watch. Lie to me and tell me you watch TV, because I'm in the As Seen on TV business, right? And then, like, I just get blown away. My 18-year-old is sitting right here, Nicholas, and he just got an apartment, and he wasn't putting cable in. He was just getting internet. And I said, then I can't come over, because what am I walk in and I want to watch television, right? So, I mean, in fact, this is how crazy it is. See that flat line across? That's the revenue to the TV station. The green line is viewership. TV stations get the same amount of money and they deliver half the customers, half the viewers. That puts me out of business, right? So what have I had to do? What's happened to me? I mean, millennials are ditching their TV sets at a record rate. And so I've had to go digital. And that is the message that we're going to talk about here right now, this last point, because how many industries do you know? Look at what's being disrupted. You know, music with iTunes, travel with Airbnb, traffic with Uber. Has anyone heard of bellhops? College kids out of Auburn University, right? 2 kids. They were moving from one side of the dorm to another, and the one kid called his father and said, "Can you help me move?" And he said, "Son, I'm busy today. Just can't you get someone, big, strong college kid to help you out?" He put out a message out to a bunch of people. He got 35 people that said they would do it, and they were bidding down in price on how much. He said, "Here's a business. We're going to call it Bellhops," and now it's a moving company. They raised $22 million based down in Tennessee. And I went down to visit them to possibly join the Dream Team. So these are some amazing things that are happening out in the marketplace. And so, you know, I say, you know, there's also a whole other transition happening in what I call the collaborative shared economy. You take your closet, you share it, you sell stuff, right? That's called Poshmark. TaskRabbit, you get freelance labor. I call it the shared economy, the gig economy, the U economy. Lemonade, peer-to-peer insurance. You form a group, they finance the insurance themselves. Dog vacay, you get your neighbor to walk your dog, right? So there's so many opportunities. And now, how many have heard of the Internet of Things? Many of you, right? The opportunity here. The average home right now has 8 internet devices. In a couple years, it's going to be 20, and in a couple years, it's going to be 50. And so there's actually going to be a whole separate spectrum that covers just these small internet devices. They don't need to be competing up against all the other spectrums, the TV and the radio and the cell phone spectrum. So, you know, the Internet of Things, Nest, it kind of gets used to your living habits and adjusts based on your living habits, and smart plugs and smart bulbs that go up and down with different colors, and baby monitors and feeders for pets, and your coffee maker, your front door, your dishwasher, your washing machine. Everything in the house is going to be internet connected, which is opportunity for every entrepreneur sitting out in this room right now. So, you know, if you're not, I wish, when I was a kid, I had to start a heating and air conditioning business, right? I mean, the opportunities that you have are so amazing. And so this digital disruption it's creating digital gurus like Michelle Phan. How many have heard of Michelle Phan? She's got an $80 million business just because she started filming some makeup tutorials with her iPhone in her kitchen, right? Pretty simple. And this guy, Mr. Dubin, he shot with his camera a $4,500 commercial to sell razor blades and sold to Unilever for $1 billion, right? So, I mean, the opportunities for the young entrepreneurs in this room right now are amazing. And, you know, I say there's an amazing one that I've been involved with. There's Kevin O'Leary in the toilet, okay? Has anyone seen a nightlight for your toilet bowl? Yeah? No, it's an amazing product. From zero to millions of dollars a month in sales. It's motion activated, and when you get close to your toilet, it lights up and turns on, so you can now see. Kids use it because they're afraid to get up in the middle of the night. It's dark now. They like to get up and see what color it is, and it can blink, and 6 different colors and all that. So this is, you know, this is a product that we did digitally. And this, you know, when I talk about digital, we don't even start with TV anymore, because not many people are watching TV. What do? We go on Facebook. We create these commercials. We put them on Facebook. We put them on Pinterest. We put them on Instagram. We partner with people. 2 kids in their 20s brought me this product. They're making millions now. So this is the beauty of the future of marketing, the future of digital. It's amazing. And just to talk about some of the successful millennials that have been out there, Zuckerberg, Mason, that started Groupon, Mullenweg that started WordPress, Blake Ross who started Mozilla. These, you know, you've seen some of these kids that have built these businesses and are worth amazing amounts of money. Peter Cashmore started Mashable. He's worth 95 million. Catherine Cook, Aaron Levy, David Karp. I mean, Karp started Tumblr, got a couple $100 million in value now. So, I mean, it's amazing the opportunities. I mean, when I built, you know, I was like, oh, I built a multi-million-dollar business when I was in college. These kids are building hundreds of millions and billions. So, it's now is the time. You have to seize it. And, you know, yeah, you can go on Shark Tank, or like I do, I'm doing a Shark Tank college tour. I've been to a ton of colleges. At Auburn, there I am. I do the Tiger Cage every year. I go down, I take pitches, we give 10 grand to the winner. There I am, the other one in the middle, Tom Mead Tank at Queens College. Hey, maybe we'll do one at the University of Tampa. How about that? Hey, got a couple board members over here. So maybe we can come to your college. So I'm going to give you my assistant's email right now, because if anybody wants to get a hold of me for anything, for a product idea, for a pitch, for this, for that, for some help, Allison at kevinharrington.tv. She's back there somewhere in the back room there, and she's going to get 800 emails, I hope. So ALL, 2 L's, ISON. And there's another one back there named Jeremy, who runs my digital partnership, digital media. Just wave your hand back there, Jeremy, because digital is where it's at, and we love the future of digital. And so, you know, I say that, you know, Mark Cuban invested. Did anyone see Prep Expert on Shark Tank? Did you see that one? Pretty cool. This is a multi-million-dollar business. I invested in one called City Kitty. Has anybody seen that one on Shark Tank? That's an amazing $10 million for a cat toilet training product, and we never did TV with it. We put it on digital. So digital is the wave of the future. So, you know, I just want to say, and Brandon said this, I'm going to close out here and let everybody go have a great night here in Tampa. I live in St. Pete, Florida, by the way. I love this town. So, yeah, thank you. So let's talk about mindset for those of you in this room. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur 40 years, and it's because I have this mindset. Whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon must inevitably come to pass. And that was Paul J. Meyer at the SMI Institute. I wake up every morning feeling like this. And you know where a lot of people bounce out of this one? They love to imagine it, you know, oh, they want to make a lot of money, and they desire it, yes. And some of them even believe it. But enthusiastically acting upon it, that many people, they just don't understand. Go to those 30 trade shows. You're here, so this is the start. And thank you. And I know that the University of Tampa has done an amazing job the last couple of days. I'm proud to say that I'm on the board of directors of the entrepreneurship program there, and I am really excited about that. But I want every entrepreneur that's in the room to stand up, because I've got one last thing to say. Every entrepreneur in this room, stand up, please, okay? And there's one thing I want to say to you. If you vividly imagine and you ardently desire and you sincerely believe and you enthusiastically act upon your vision, it must inevitably come to pass. And there's one guy that I ask all the time. I call him, he's a mentor to me, and I ask him and I say, hey, I'm going to call you, I need some help. Tell me, I got this new idea, I got this new thing, and generally, this is what he says when I say, tell me if this is going to be good, Tony. Well, we didn't work here. Does that video play? No? You can do it! You can do it. Thank you guys for having me tonight. It's been amazing to be here. You can do it. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come on, guys, you can do better than that. You can do better than that. Show him the love. Thank you. Amazing. Love you, brother.
All right, buddy.
Amazing. And look, man, I got to get a chance to share the stage with you. Let's show the people. Keep it going, keep it going.
All right, thank you, man.
Awesome.
Great to be here.
Guys, this has been an amazing time. I want to call the two people who made this possible, who enabled me to be here. James, Giles, please come to the stage. Give them a round of applause as they come to the stage. I had an awesome time, guys. Thank you very much. Everyone, get home safe. Love you guys. Let's hear it for James. Made this possible. Hear it for Giles, who made this possible. Thank you, guys.
Let's hear it for True. What a great job he did all weekend. Thank you, True.
Thank you all so much for coming to Tampa. It's been absolutely wonderful getting to connect with each of you. I hope you all enjoyed our sessions. I just want to say thank you to one individual in particular, because we would not have been able to do this. And her name is Stacy DeMarce. She is the event planner for this conference, and she has done a phenomenal job. And we are so excited to host you back in Tampa next year, the same exact weekend. And we hope that you will join us. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Have safe travels. And that's the end of CEO National 2016.